Okay. Hello guys. Nice to see you. Nice to see you after exams. I won't be talking about school-related content for a video for once, which is nice. I'm sure all of you guys, all of my loving, supporting fans are just so fantastic. I don't know, I'm just so glad to hear that, right? Anyways, today I'm gonna be doing my 2025 reading wrapped. I'm just gonna be talking about some books I read this year. I'm gonna be talking about some statistics. Yeah. Hopefully you'll enjoy. Watch it at 2x speed because I'm not really that fast of a talker. Yeah, so I made a really ugly as hell Google slide deck. You can see it here. So I'm gonna kind of be going through it so you guys can like see it with me, I guess. It's kind of hard to find a good positioning for it. This is like my third time making this video because I just didn't like how the other ones turned out. Can you focus? Focus. Okay, so let's talk about some statistics. What happened this year? How many books did I read? What? 28 books. I read 28 books this year. I think that's a really good number. Last year I read 12, so this is like more than double of that, which is, I'm super proud of that. I can't say all the books I read this year were good, but we'll get to that. I also listened to audiobooks this year, and the grand total for how many audiobooks I listened to is 1. I listened to 1 audiobook this year. I'll talk about it later. I will talk about it later. I also read in total about 12,000 pages. I don't really know what that means. I just kind of read books, but we can kind of decipher how many pages are in each book, or the average length of a book, which is 425 pages, which is, sounds about right. I don't really love shorter books because I just feel like, guys, like there's so much more you could say. Let me see if this book in front of me right now is actually like around that page count so I can show you what it looks like for non-readers, I guess. Yeah, this is 432 pages. Heaven Breaker. I'll be talking about this book a lot. I love this book. So yeah, it's like a decent book, right? Nothing crazy. Yeah. So how many books this year did I actually read physically? I read 10 books physically this year. Cool. I feel like I enjoyed the books I read physically more, and I really liked the ones I read this year, so that's awesome. So obviously the other 18 were ebooks, which makes sense. I just download them. Yeah. So let's talk about how would I rate these books I read this year. Well, I think out of the 28 books I read this year, 8 of them, they were so bad. 4 of them were like, yeah, that's okay. 10, I think were pretty good, and I think the remaining 6 were like quite good. I really liked them. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the fun part. Awards. So, let's talk about my favorite top 3 books this year. We have Red Rising, Heaven Breaker, and The Shadow of What Was Lost. This is in no particular order. I think I liked all 3. I also have an honorable mention, which is The Prisoner's Throne. Now, let me show you these books. So I read Red Rising digitally, which I think actually did not do it any favors, just because, again, I like reading books on paper, and I feel like I enjoy them more when they're on paper. Anyways, so this is Heaven Breaker. I love this book. I'll be talking about this book very shortly. I'm not going to talk about Red Rising too much. You can see it's just so pretty, and it was that expensive, which is why I thought it wouldn't like it. It was $10. I don't know how HomeSense does this, bro. Excuse me. This is The Prisoner's Throne. This is a sequel. I'm gonna pause and cough. This is a sequel book to The Stolen Hair. I know these books are mirrored. It's okay. Oh, they're not gonna be mirrored. I'm mirroring the whole shit. Okay. Anyway, so these are those two books. I like them. I think they're pretty good, but it's like maybe not my favorite list. And then I have over here The Shadow of What Was Lost. Really good book. It's kind of a doozy to get through. I also talk about this later. Okay, so who cares really about your faves? Who cares? I care about the worst books you read this year. Actually, any of you guys watching read, tell me your top 3 worst books. I don't give a shit. Best books you read this year. Who are the worst ones? That's what I care about. Yeah. So, what are my worst books? Number 5 is this book called The Wren in the Holly Library. I actually own this book, which is so disappointing. Every time I look at it on the shelf, I'm like, oh. Actually, I'm not even gonna read the slides off for this part because I can talk about it, I guess. I'll just show it to you for the ones you don't know the covers of. So, this one is just so boring. IMO. I don't know. The beginning wasn't that bad, but the writing is so cringe. And, like, it just wasn't interesting. Like, it fell off so fast. I think the world building was really weird and, like, unexplained. But the only one redeeming quality is I don't think the cover looks that ugly on my shelf, and it cost me $1.80, and everyone online said this was a really good book, so maybe I'll gift it to someone one day. I don't know. So that's that one. The next awful book I read this year was The Two Hungers of Prince Fier. Oh my god, this one was so weird. This one was like about this like gay couple, and they're like royalty and a servant or something, I don't even remember. And one of them had like an eating disorder, which is like, okay, cool, but it was so like weird, and like he was just so fragile. And I don't know, I don't really read, I'm not homophobic, but I don't really read like male fiction that often, just cause like, what's the point, yo? what am I? Okay, sorry, I swear I'm not homophobic, guys. I just don't like, why would I want that? I just thought this one was so cringe. I thought the execution was just so bad. I don't even know how I finished that book. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I think it was like sheer willpower and hatred that got me through that book. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because it was so bad. Yeah. And they were freaky often, and they were like already an established couple, so there's no like yearning. I hate that word. There's no yearning. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Next, number 3 worst book. Shatter Me. Look at that cheesy ass cover, by the way. Okay, Shatter Me was the audiobook I listened to this year. That one audiobook. It honestly, I think it put me off of audiobooks. It was so bad. I was like painting the shed and I was listening to it because I was like, I don't want to listen to music for like 12 hours straight. Like, I was getting sick of music. So like, okay, let me try an audiobook, right? It was so bad. Like, the narration was fine. Like, the girl who was singing it was fine. Like, it was whatever. I don't know. I just thought like the whole concept of the book was so corny, because like basically like the main girl, like she can't touch anyone or else they'll die, but she can actually touch the 2 hot guys in her life. I don't know, that pissed me off. I think it was really dated. Like, it felt like 2000s dystopian books that came out after the Hunger Games. I don't know if this came out before the Hunger Games, but I don't believe you if you say this is pre-Hunger Games. Like, I don't believe you. I don't know. I just thought it was really cringe. I didn't like it. Yeah, I know a lot of people are big fans of this book. Sorry, guys. I'm not with you on that one. Sorry, guys. Okay. The next book I've got to talk about is my number 2 least or most hated books of this year. And this is the Trial of the Sun Queen and the Rule of the Aurora King. So I'm just gonna show you this for a second while I talk, but then I'm gonna move away. So this is like half of the series. Like, I think the series was 4 books. And I honestly don't even think the first book, The Trial of the Sun Queen, was that bad. Like, it was okay. Like, it was kind of intriguing because it was like this girl is stuck in this pit and she's to like literally fight for her life. Honestly, cool. That's interesting. I didn't hate that. But the second one, actually, let me do the dramatic effect. The second one was so bad, and you want to know why? Because they wouldn't stop cracking. Stop it. I missed the plot. Stop crying. It was non-stop. I was getting so mad. The plot itself was so mid, but like, who cares about the plot itself? They just, like, there was no plot in the second book because they just would not stop cracking. I was going crazy. I was losing my mind because I don't care. Ow. For cracking with fingernails, by the way. I painted them like 2 days ago. Anyways, I don't give a shit how much you guys are in love with each other now after the pains and the trials of the first book. Stop crying. I was going crazy. I felt like I was going crazy. Because like in the first book, like they had it, like they did it like once or twice, and I was like, fine. Because I don't even like really read those parts. I just kind of like, okay, moving on, right? Oh my god, it actually made me so bad. Why are they crying so much? Okay. Now, what could be worse than that? There's something worse. There's something so much worse. Something you've never even imagined worse. My #1 worst books this year was the Plated Prisoner series. These books were so freaking bad, bro. There's 6 of them total. 6 books in this series total, and I read 3 of them. Now, you might say, oh, okay, just 3 books. Like, how long could they be? First one was 300 pages. Second one was 400 pages. Third one was 800 pages long. 800. Can you imagine how long 800 pages is? This shit is 704 pages. It's longer than this shit, bro. And this is a fat fucking book. It's a fat fucking book, right? Longer than that. And it was bad. It was so bad. Oh my goodness. I genuinely hated that book so much. Okay, the only reason I read this series and the series I just talked about, like the Trials of Urano series or whatever, is because I downloaded these 6 books and those 4 books before I went on my flight to Mexico, and I had nothing better to do on that flight, bro, because like I just downloaded these books and I was like, okay, cool, I have some books to read now. They were so bad. The first one, I have to admit, the first one was like almost interesting, but like nothing happened. It just felt like nothing happened. Oh my goodness. Like she was just at home and she's lounging. I don't know. Oh my god, it was so bad. The characters are so bad. The writing style, the prose, and her language is so bad. And it's so rapey and like so much sexual assault. And it's just so freaking weird. I don't like it. Ooh. This book actually drove me crazy. These 3 books, these 1,600 words or 1,500 words, I don't know, drove me crazy. 1,500? Yeah, 1,500 words, not words, pages. I'm losing my mind. I can't do this anymore. I'm moving on. So this year, I learned a very important lesson. That lesson that I learned this year is never trust Instagram recommendations. No matter how many freaking reels you see that are like, this is probably the best book of this decade. It's not. Don't even listen to them. Doesn't matter how many people in the comments are like, yes queen, you're so right, and I agree with you. Don't listen. This year I tried to read this book called Powerless. And like, mind you, I didn't read it because I saw the Instagram recommendations. I read it for something else, right? For like something with Soha, right? so bad, bro. It's like genuinely like a Hunger Games knockoff. It is so bad. And every time I look in an Instagram comment section, they like Powerless is probably one of the best books ever. Everyone on Instagram is like Fourth Wing, one of the peak books of this decade, like one of the best books ever written. I don't like Fourth Wing. I don't like Akotar or A Court of Thorns and Roses. I don't give a shit, bro. I can't do those books, bro. I don't know. The second important lesson I learned this year is that I don't like romantasy as a genre in general, which might tie into this a little bit. Am I too close? Does it feel too personal? Sorry. I don't like romantasy as a genre in general. I don't know. I like books that are fantasy books that have a little bit of romance in them. And I thought, oh, romantasy sounds like the perfect genre for me, because some fantasy books, like, for example, like that Bigham one, right? Like, that's just pure fantasy. There's not that much, like, romantic elements. So I thought, oh, okay. There just must be one step down for that. No, it's not. It's cracking. It's cracking. That's it. So I don't like romantasy. I don't mind people who like romantasy, but I just don't like it. It's not myself. Yeah. So, now I'm just gonna be talking about books I read this year and my thoughts on them. These are just me yapping at this point. If you want to leave the video now, I actually don't mind, because it's kind of like the halfway point between like actual structured stuff and me just talking up my ass. Well, I wrote the whole script, but feel free to go. But if you're still here, I'll be talking about some more books. So the first book I want to talk about is called Bonesmith, and the sequel is Ghostsmith. Let me show you. These are the covers. I don't know how well you can see them. It's just like some badass girl. Yeah. I just download these randomly off of like a Google search, and I know the covers are kind of corny. Don't mind them. I thought they were actually surprisingly good. To be fair, I read this literally during finals week. So I needed something like kind of refreshing, like easy to read. It had like dark themes, I guess, because it's about like bone magic, death magic, whatever. I thought it was cool. I thought it was nice. It was like a cool subversion, a bit of a different fantasy world than I usually see. But the magic system was very fascinating. I liked the like alchemy vibes of it. I also thought that the main girl was super likable. I liked all the characters, and I liked character dynamics. And this is probably one of the more romantic-y books I read this year. But I don't know, I liked it. It was like the thing is, like, books that are labeled as YA, I'm fine with that. But sometimes they're labeled as adult, and when they get that label, they just like take free reins to do anything. Like when I see adult, I'm like, okay, there's gonna be like darker themes and more mature content. Like the writing itself should be different, but like when you just take the words adult to mean I'm just gonna write like weird fetishes and kinks into this book, I'm not into that, you know what I'm saying? Or like just a lot of like cracking in general. I'm not a fan of that. Okay, the next book I want to talk about, this one has really corny names. I'm sorry in advance. This is Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad of Never After, and A Curse for True Love. These are actually Instagram reel books, in my opinion. I didn't want to read them for a bit because I was like, Instagram reel books are not really that good usually. But I did think they were okay. I liked the first one, and I thought the third one was also pretty good, but the second one could use some help, in my opinion. But I did read these really fast. Like, I kind of just sat down and read them. I think the characters are fun. I think it might be a little bit tropey, but it's done pretty well, in my opinion. I like the setting. I think the magic system could use a lot of help. It's kind of like nothing sauce. Like, I don't know. Like, things can just happen and it's fine because, like, plot, I guess. But that doesn't make sense to me. I think it's, like, again, it's, like, okay books. I wouldn't really recommend them to anybody, but if you're looking for, like, a tropey, easy romance, yeah, that's fine. Right? It's fine. Okay. The next book I want to talk about that I read this year is Caraval. Okay. My whole life, I've been thinking this book called Carnival. Because look at it. That looks like a book called Carnival, right? It's called Caraval. I only realized this when I was on the phone with Sarah and I was talking about it. I'm like, wait, called Caraval. Like, that's crazy. But it's fine. This is actually the first book in the prequel series to the ones I just talked about. Like, obviously this one was written first, and then that one's like the more recent one. I read this one and I like kind of was like, okay, fine, I guess I read it. I bought this back in like 2023 or 2022 when it was super popular, and like I got it, like I remember I was at camp and I was like, we had like a day where we could go to the library. I got this book and one more, but I didn't read that one this year. I read that one way before, and I don't know, I just never got to reading it after that. So I read it this year. I'm glad I read it. I read it pretty recently too. I think the characters are fun. I didn't really like the main character. I didn't really like her sister. The love interest was like okay, I guess. Like the hero, I don't know. It was okay, I guess. It was super mid. I'm not really intrigued to read the second series or like the rest of the series, but I don't know. I'm glad I read it, and her writing has improved a lot in her new series too. Like you can tell, like she's fixed herself up a little bit, for lack of better words. Yeah, so that's Caraval. Okay, the next books I want to talk about, there's two of them. Now I read these back in January, so I do have a little bit less recollection on them. For 2026, something I actually want to do is write like thoughts about each book that I read right after I read them, instead of like waiting until the end of the year. So, the next two books I have is the ones I mentioned earlier, The Stolen Hair and The Prisoner's Throne. It's a duology, obviously, and I think they were pretty sweet. Like, it's definitely like the main character in this is she's like crazy, which I love. Like she's kind of like vicious, which is, I think it's a very good contrast to most books in this genre, where the main girl is kind of like soft and like, but she's like witty comebacks. I'm not a fan of that character type anymore. I've read so many of them. I think the main character in this is pretty good. I like the plot of this one too. Like I didn't like overly guess everything that was gonna happen. Yeah, I also got them on sale, which is extra epic in my opinion. Yeah, so that's that one. And I honestly, like, if I was to recommend you a series by Holly Black, because I read a lot of her books. Like I read the Quilpin series, I read this, I read some of Teeth, I read some of, oh, I'm gonna talk about Cold Skull and Cold Home. I would probably recommend this one from her. I actually like this one more than The Cruel Prince, I think. But I've read The Cruel Prince like 4 times. Not because I even liked it that much. Like, every time I went on vacation, I'd bring like a random book, and that was the one I randomly brought. So, yeah. Okay, the next book I'm talking about is Heavenburger. This is one of my favorites from this year, as you know. Like, I don't know, like, at first, I was like, this is just gonna be some corny, cheap book that I got. And then I was like, wait, why is this fire? Like, why is this epic? Like, what is going on? I don't know, it just hit all of my, like, favorite themes. Like, it's so, like, biology heavy, and, like space, and, like, mechs. Like, I don't know, it's so, like, Evangelion, I don't know, that anime. I love that show. And I love this book. I don't know, they have like the themes of like space and action. I don't know, so good. People on Goodreads were so pissed off at this book because it was marketed as a romantasy, and there's not that much romance in this book actually. Like there's a little bit where like something happens like in one scene, but it's like very little. Just look at this, so pretty. Oh, so pretty. But it's not like that major of a deal, and I guess that pissed people off because they wanted more romance in this book, but I really think that the lack of romance actually made it stronger. I don't know, we really got to see the main character more, and like she is such an interesting main character because it's like kind of different from other main characters. Like she's like so like angry. Anyways, I'm in a weird spot with this book because I love it so much, but I wouldn't recommend it to people because I know that it's just like, it fits my niche kind of interests very well, but I don't know if it would fit other people's interests. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like kind of like crafted for me, but I don't know if other people would like it. Like, it's not the kind of book I can just recommend. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels too personal almost. Yeah. And also like, yeah, that's all I have to say. Okay. the next book I want to. Oh wait, no. Before I talk about the next book, one more thing about Heaven Breaker. Heaven Breaker is dead ass the reason I started using Pinterest again, because I was just so like in love with the themes of this book that I made like a whole ass Pinterest board just because like, oh, it's so good. Hold on, let me show you this screenshot I added. That's what Heaven Breaker feels like to me. That's what Heaven Breaker feels like to me. So good. Oh, I love this book. Okay, moving on. Next book I want to talk about, and okay, so these ones I actually don't have physical editions for, so I'm going to show you. This is 2 Holly Black books. This is Teeth, and this is The Coldest Girl in Cold Town. Again, 2 Holly Black books. I really do like Holly Black's writing, but these are her older ones, and I can kind of see her stepping away from like being good. I don't know. Teeth is like it's like kind of gritty, and it's like a very 2000s. Like I said, Shattermeal's 2000, but no, this is like everyone has bulimia and all throwing up and smoking cigarettes and living like trailer trash. Like it's literally about like white trailer trash girls that find like fae. I don't know. It's interesting, but not interesting enough that I read the second one. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I like it. It's very different from what I usually read, but I'm sick of it. I'm done. The Coldest Girl in Cold Town. I hate that name. It was okay. I think the world building was interesting. The main problem I have with that book is that the author, like, she really wanted to explain the world in like a biological way, but like, bro, you can't do that and then like have weird inconsistencies, in my opinion. Like, I feel like if you want to have this like magical like world with like vampires, like that's so cool, like, and I'm fine with that. Like, I'm not like the kind of person that's like, oh, actually, but she just kept trying to add this like biological implications that were really like wait, girl, this doesn't make any sense. Like, it was so weird. Like, I don't know, if you want to be like super magical about something, like, I think you should just skip the science. Like, stop trying to explain it, because that's just making me more confused at some point, right? And I feel like a lot of people would be confused with this book because it's like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about, right? But another problem I have with that book is that it was like the main girl, freshly 17 or maybe freshly 18, something like that, freshly 18, gets with a 3,000-year-old man. I don't like that trope. I don't know. I don't understand how people can like that trope. It's like so, I don't know, it's so weird to me. I don't like that shit. Yeah. Okay. The last ones I want to talk about is this one. After I read this book, I immediately bought the second 2, and then I just never read them. Because I don't know, it just looks like such a time commitment, right? Because they're so big and thick. I could read like 10 tiny books in the time that it takes me to read one of these. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a mental block. But anyways, I really liked this first one. I think the world and the magic system were so complex and fascinating and interesting, and I loved the prose and the writing style. The only thing I would say that this falls short on is the characters. I think they're a little bit flat. I don't know, because there's such a big cast of characters that you don't really get to see any individual one of them for very long, which I think is kind of a drawback. I feel like this book would have benefited from having like 5 less characters, honestly, or like 3 less characters, like in the main cast, because the main cast is like 8, bro. Like, it's a lot. Yeah, and like some of the characters are all like, they're kind of similar to each other. Yeah, so I think that's the only problem I have with this first book, but overall I still really liked it. I loved reading it. I'm going to be reading the rest of it. So with that said, I'm going to be talking about my 2026 reading list now. Let me just get some. So the first things I want to talk about is my physical reading list, things that I own and I've just never really got to reading for whatever reason. First one is obviously these 2. Do you see how much of it I read? Like, nothing, bro. I don't know. I love this world. I just like, it's such a time commitment to read these that I'm like scared. I'm scared of them, bro. But yeah, I will read this in 2026. That is my I will read this in 2026. I will do it. So that's one of them. Okay. The second thing on my physical TBR is Harrow and Nona the Ninth. Okay? These two, I have the first book, right? She's sitting on my shelf somewhere. It's called Gideon the Ninth. First book was so good. First book was so good. I really did love it. And then when I started Harrow the Ninth, something fell out of it. This is my bookmark. What the hell? Okay, anyways, the second one is written in second person. I've never read a book like that, and honestly, it's so hard to get into it that I just stopped reading it because it's so weird. It's such a like jarring thing. I don't know. You spat into the sink. In the mirror, you perceive the body waiting quietly beside you. She wore a turquoise hospital shift exactly the same as your own. You meet God's gaze in the mirror, and for a moment, you were convinced you could see her too. Like, what? I don't know. It really, I'm gonna read it this year. I just need to like prepare a bit more. But I'm definitely gonna read it this year. Because I know it's good. I know it's gonna be good. Okay. The next thing I'm gonna read this year on my physical to be read list is Empire of the Damned. Again, this is a sequel. I read the first one, and honestly, the only reason I haven't read this one is that the first one is really, really big and long, and I bought this one so long after I read the first one that I kind of don't remember like fully what like entailed in book one, right? So I'd have to like reread it or like kind of like find out what's going on before I can read this one, and like I just was too lazy to do that. But I really did like the first one, and I'm very fascinated with the premise of these books. So this I'm gonna be reading at some point this year. And then the last one that I want to read this year is, let me just put it somewhere else because you've been sitting on that book this whole time. The last book that I want to read this year that's physical is Bone Season by Samantha Sanin, whatever. Again, this is one of those books that I just had and I never ended up reading. I don't know, I got this on discount somewhere off of like Book Outlet because I like the author. I read The Fury of the Orange Tree and I quite liked it. So I got it impulsively and I just never ended up reading it because it's also kind of a time commitment. It's like 7-part series, and all of them are big as hell. So yeah, that is my physical reading list. Let's talk about my not physical reading list real quick before we end off the video. The first one I want to read is Mistborn. That's it. I just want to read it. I've heard a lot of good things and I'm interested. I want to start reading Brandon Sanderson books because I heard he's good. Oh, video saved. Recording a new file. I don't know what that means. I guess it recorded for too long. Okay. The next one I want to talk about is the series The Will of the Many and the Strength of the Few. This is by by James Islington. I dropped you guys. It's by James Islington, which is the same guy who wrote that trilogy that I haven't fully finished reading yet, the big one. I dropped that shit so far, bro. Yeah, that's that one. I also want to read The Poppy War. Yeah, heard good things, and I've actually ordered that, so it's gonna come soon. And Hellrunner, obviously, when it comes out, which is the second part of Heavenbreaker. That's not the official cover, they just haven't released it yet. I also want to start a reading journal, which is like after I read a book or while I'm reading a book, I actually actively write down my thoughts so that I can like actually have like a log of what I think about books and stuff, just kind of like trying to remember, because I don't know, it's been a long time since January. I don't remember fully what I read last year around this time of the year, right? Yeah, okay. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas. Yeah, okay. Toodaloos.